We'll be live here.
This is it's a whole live thing?
So it's technically live. If I would have advertised, so the way the system works, the link that I sent you, I could also post on social media like a day or two in advance, and then people could go in and watch it. So right now, if somebody is a subscriber to my YouTube channel, they got a notification that says, "Hey, Nick's live," and so they could log in and watch right now. Do you hear them barking?
I wasn't sure if that was Ace. I stuck Ace outside. I did hear it. Yeah.
No, we're dog sitting for a relative, but anyway. So yeah, so people, if they were live, up in the top left-hand corner, do you see an eyeball with the 0? Do you see that on your end? Like next to the counter, next to the counter, there should be like an eyeball. Yeah.
No, so I don't see an eyeball.
Oh, if they were live viewers, that number would change, and then they could post comments, and the comments would show up on the right side of the screen. And so we could pull over comments or questions onto the actual bottom of the screen and like address them like real time. But nobody so far has watched. Nobody so far has watched any of these streams live.
Watch, this is going to be the one.
Yeah, Candy and Mandy and everybody chimes in. Check out this cup, by the way. I don't know if you've ever seen this. Kennedy, I think Kennedy, maybe it was Hope, but this was from Hope. She made me this for Father's Day a couple years ago. It's like this and the bowl that Kennedy made me are like some of like my prized possessions. But so this, I intentionally used this cup because I was in a bad mood. Like as soon as I got home, I was excited because my coffee order came in. Like I'm serious about my espresso. I ordered 5 pounds of espresso beans. Been waiting a few days. They got delivered. I went out to the mailbox. There's a hole in the box. No big deal.
Oh no!
But there's a hole in the bag. So I took a picture and sent it to the company. I was like, "Hey, you need to overnight me a bag." So hopefully they make it right. Otherwise, I'm going to be like kind of screwed. I'm going to have to go to the store and buy some like crappy coffee. But anyway.
What brand of coffee? Ooh, of course somebody would call me.
So I found this company called Gobina. Let me pull them up real quick. Gobina Coffee. So they are, how do I share my screen? This would be cool, kind of fun. Share screen. So this company is actually out of Illinois, but they are a Christian company that focuses on like donating money to orphans and stuff. So it's like, it's weird, man. You know, like I want to support Christian products and stuff whenever I can, like movies, music, whatever. But like sometimes that just sucks. Like some of these like Christian movies, they've got like terrible acting. It's just super corny. And same with like the music. If they try to like, I don't know, try to do something that's too contemporary, it just seems cheesy. But anyway, they make really good coffee. But, yeah. So hopefully this cup makes me in a better mood because I was not happy coming up to that. Well, anyway, so for those that don't know who this person is, this is my sister, Missy. She is, you're not technically my youngest sister, but you were the youngest sister that I grew up with. Right. And I think of everybody that I know, there are maybe, I was just thinking about this in the drive home, there are maybe probably less than 5 people that know me as well as you do. So I was planning on kind of saving you towards like the back end of all of these episodes for that reason. But we had somebody go into labor last week. I've got somebody else that I was scheduled to do one with who like real world stuff that's going on overseas is impacting their ability to be able to do this with me right now. So dang it, this dog. But anyway, so I'm glad you were able to jump on and do this with me. With everybody else, I gave you kind of some things that I was interested in talking about, but we can go wherever wherever we want to go and stay away from anything that you don't want to talk about. I think it's probably best, one, because these dogs are going to bark again. Piper never barks. The dog that we were dog sitting will bark at things that are like a block away, like 100 meters away. So we've got something that's about to get delivered to our front door. So surely this dog is gonna scream. It screams when it barks. It's not a normal bark. So while this is happening, I figure we'll just do some layup questions. What is your favorite? What's your favorite movie?
So I actually had forgotten about this movie until recently. I don't even know how it came up. I was over at a friend's house and the movie came up and I was like, I love that movie. Fried Green Tomatoes.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie. I vaguely remember Grandma having that on my VHS or something like that.
Oh, it was great. Where she like rams her car into stuff and like takes down the wall in her house.
No, I don't remember that.
You
at
have
all.
to watch it.
Is it a comedy?
No, it's not a comedy. But for comedies, I would say Napoleon Dynamite and Hot Rod are my two favorite.
Hot Rod. Fried Green Tomatoes. Oh, I guess so. It's from 1991. It's technically a comedy.
I mean, there's parts of it that are comedic, but the storyline is not.
A Trapped Housewife. Yeah, I don't think. It's got that lady. What is her name? She was the boss on The Office for like that season. Remember the one?
I don't know what her name is.
The one that lived in Tallahassee. That's the only reason I know her.
That had the two big dogs.
Yeah. I don't remember anybody else on there. What about your favorite CD? If you had a CD, if you when you think back to like when people actually use CDs, maybe you still do. You could only listen to one album for the rest of your life. What would it be?
It would probably be, I don't even know what the name of it was, but it was definitely the Whitney Houston. I'd say Whitney Houston Greatest Hits.
That's a good one. Yeah, you definitely want to choose something that you know like all the words to.
I like Celine Dion too.
Dude, I haven't
the My Heart Will Go On CD.
I haven't thought about Celine Dion in forever. Remember like back in the 90s when the commercials, there was the advertisements for just like tapes. You know what I mean? Like,
remember when Dad forced me to sing it at Old Town?
Yeah. I remember, I do remember that. I remember watching you recording a music video, I think, from the outside.
That was in
of this
Old
place.
Town.
Yeah. So for those that are listening, growing up, our mom and dad, their vacation spot was Kissimmee, Florida. And most of the time, it was kind of like in that central Florida area. And it was like a lot of the time they went just by themselves, which was fun for us because we got to kind of hang out with our grandma and kind of do whatever we wanted for the week. But we went with them a couple of times. But like our dad was just so big on routine, staying at the same hotels, going to the same places every year, like even going to the same Perkins where we weren't local to there. But the wait staff would still remember him whenever we would go to breakfast. But Old Town was kind of just like this. I think for us at the time, being from Quincy, we thought it was like a big mall. But now thinking back, it's more like I guess it's an outdoor mall, but not big at all, you know. But it was just kind of exciting for us. It had like the rides outside and like go-karts and like the trampoline bungee thing and stuff. But yeah, I remember you went into that place to like record a music video. I didn't remember that was the song, but I wonder, did you guys pay for that tape, like the recording? It's got to exist. It's got to exist somewhere.
I lost it. So when I lived in the dorms, I had the CD of it. And I had started talking to a guy, and I don't remember how. I think he had driven me home And when I had grabbed that CD and I left it in the trunk of his car and never got it back. Or
Dude,
it wasn't a CD, it was a VHS.
maybe it still exists. Gosh, this dog. Yeah, maybe
I'm
it still
sure it does,
exists.
but I couldn't tell you what the guy's name was
Mm.
to be like, hey, you got my VHS.
Like, that's crazy that could still be out there. Maybe somebody's still enjoying it. Maybe he watches it just randomly throughout the year. It's kind of like our family photo, the one where everybody had mullets. That still exists at the 15th ASOS at Fort Stewart, Georgia. And I don't know if they still do the annual Thanksgiving Day auction or not, but or like flea market or whatever you want to call it. But the last I had heard, it had garnered like thousands of dollars in revenue for the squadron. People that didn't even know who I was would spend hundreds of dollars on this picture just to have it in their office, just as it's such a stereotypical early mid 90s family picture. We're all wearing ugly sweaters and we have mullets and all this stuff, man. Yeah.
But we did not think those were ugly at the time.
Oh no, dude. I remember a lot about that day. I remember exactly where we got our pictures taken.
I do too. It was
Yeah.
that place, because when I go home to visit mom, I run by there.
Yeah.
It's like those apartments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. The weird things that kind of stick with you from your childhood. I guess that's what happens when you grow up in a boring town. Everything seems like a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay. So it probably makes the most sense, just like with everybody else. We kind of start from the beginning. So how would you describe your childhood and upbringing? Rather than trying to segment it, let's just talk about prior to you joining the Air Force.
I spent my childhood grounded most of the time. So I didn't have a lot of freedom. I wouldn't say that I had a bad childhood by any means. I definitely was not a popular kid in school. I didn't really, I guess, grow into my own until probably, I don't know, maybe sophomore, junior year of high school. But yeah, I got terrible grades in school. I would hide my report cards and would
Hang on a
get in a
second.
lot of trouble. What?
Can you hang on? I'm gonna step
Yeah.
away for a second. I got to put this dog in the kennel, otherwise it's just going to continue to bark. Hang on a second.
All right.
Bed. Yes, bed. Bed. Okay. Now it's with me. So terrible grades in school, hiding report cards, continue.
Yes, as my dog's eyeballing me through my door. Yeah, so one way I avoided spending my entire childhood life in my bedroom was I would stay at my grandmother's house. So I always strategically knew when midterms were coming or a report card or something. And most of the time, I would try to be at my grandma's house because if I was there, then I'd just be like, I'm not coming home. And that worked for me. It didn't work for Candy.
What do you mean?
So, Candy tried that one time when a midterm or something came home. She said, I'm staying at grandma's house. And mom said, the hell you are.
Oh my gosh.
So I spent a lot of time at my grandma's house, which I loved. I mean, I had pretty much free reign to do whatever I wanted over there for the most part. I could cook up a storm all day long, and she'd take me out to dinners and all sorts of stuff. So
why do you think you got bad grades?
I don't know. I never tried. Why? I have no idea. Like even one of the cooking classes I was in with Candy, like that should have been an easy A. It's a cooking class.
Mm-hmm.
I still ended up getting either a D or an F in that.
Yeah, I don't. Did you ever have good grades?
Yeah, I think my junior and senior year, it was sporadic. Obviously, it wasn't all bad grades because I graduated on time.
Sure.
But I did get my fair share of bad grades. I think at one point I even got a bad grade in PE because I didn't want to dress out. But yeah,
I remember. I remember, definitely remember you being grounded more than the rest of us. Part of it, like looking back, there was definitely part of it that was probably warranted, but I wonder if, like, now as a parent, looking back on you as a kid, if you were parenting yourself, how would you do anything differently to parenting a child that was doing the things that you were doing?
I don't know. Because luckily I was not ever put in that. I don't know. I'm still raising one more. So
yeah,
who knows how that will end up being. But I mean, there was a point in time where Lexi started letting her grades go. And so I'd get in on her, but I definitely didn't keep her grounded.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't, mom tried the best she could. Like being a parent at that time when you didn't have the resources we as parents have now, where I can go on an app and look real time at my kids' grades, what assignment they're missing, and all that stuff. Mom would have to call my school counselor and then have the school counselor reach out to all the teachers to try to figure out what my grades were. So she had a lot of running around to do to try to keep up with me to make sure that I did graduate high school.
Yeah, it's weird because I remember because I even went through a stint where actually, like, I think once I started to get really like girl crazy, my focus from school shifted, and so like I was doing just enough to keep my head above water. But it wasn't because it was like hard, and it sounds like it wasn't like difficult for you either. But my interest was elsewhere, you know?
Yeah.
But I remember obviously I'm assuming that obviously they wanted you to have better grades, but I remember what seemed to be the biggest issue was like not being honest about stuff through the process. But it is kind of like a double-edged sword. Like if you're honest about your grades, then when you do have the freedom that you have, if you were honest about it, then it's going to get taken away before like the day of reckoning, which is when like report cards.
Right.
So like it is now thinking about it, it does kind of put you in a weird spot. Where you're like, man, what do I do? If I'm honest, I'm going to get grounded, or I can just not be forthcoming with the information, have a little bit of freedom until report cards and stuff come.
And wait till Nick to go home and be like, we got report cards today.
Oh, dude. Well, I remember when I think you helped me change a grade on my report card.
Probably.
And it was a terrible job of turning like a D, turning like a
D into a B.
Yes. So like the report cards that we had were like they were on those papers that like when you write on it, it like transfers to the sheets behind it. And so like, there were multiple copies. So like you trying to teach me how to do that to pencil, it was so obvious. I remember what it looked like, looking at it like, oh my God, what did I just do? Like I'm so screwed right. I'm so screwed right now.
Did they notice it?
Yeah, dude, 100%, 100%. Yeah, but like, so you were kind of like a bad influence on me, man. It's like you were getting me to
Yeah.
forge documents.
Remember the cigarettes?
I was telling somebody about that the other day at the gym. So we would talk about the cigarettes.
Okay, so I used to smoke in high school, or even probably younger than that. Well, I remember smoking downstairs in the basement one time, and Nick came down and saw me. So I told him, I bet you can't take a drag off of this knockoff. So I knew he would do it. So if he did it, then he couldn't tell on me because he did it too. So he did. Well, when he did it, he flicked the cherry of the cigarette onto the ironing board. So it burnt a hole in the ironing board. And then I think we broke a pin and put the ink around it so that I could say that the pin had burst on it or something.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, such a terrible yeah, because like when we were growing up, for kids that were born in a year that started with 2, you don't understand that, like, growing up in the 80s and the early 90s, your house was just constantly filled with cigarette smoke. It was like exciting for me to light cigarettes for our parents and like guests and stuff like that. So but they wouldn't smoke it down to the filter. There was always like a quarter inch of the cigarette left, enough for like two or three like solid drags. But they had this ashtray with this little black lever. So you would put the ashes in the ashtray. You push this black lever, the ashes would go underneath it. So it's kind of like a clean ashtray, but they would throw their cigarette butts in there. And so we would find the leftover cigarettes and like smoke them like honestly like bums do, like homeless people do right now. And like downtown, like in Raleigh, you go downtown Raleigh, like first thing in the morning, I bet you find homeless people rooting through trash cans and ashtrays looking for some cigarettes to get a couple drags off of. Dude, what were we thinking?
I have no idea.
I remember your high school boyfriend and you taking me to a soccer game. I was like, I had to have been like 11 or 12. And I was like hotboxing some Marlboro Reds on the way to a soccer game. And I remember because I think he had a van. I remember being in this van, buzzed out of my mind, showing up to a soccer game.
That was Danielle. Danielle had the van.
Okay. Yeah. What were we thinking? But we never got caught for like stuff like that. It was the other stuff.
No.
That we got busted for. So you talked about it a little bit. You weren't like popular. But I remember maybe it's just like little brother looking at his older sister. I remember you in high school. My perception was that you were popular. Now, granted, you had a different friend group, like you were with like kind of like the skater group and stuff like that. But I do remember now. I didn't realize then, I don't think, so much. But I do remember it was kind of like probably from like preteen, early teenage years was like not a good time for you. You know what I mean? Like, what do you remember about that? What was like, because I genuinely don't know. Like, what was it like for you going to school?
I mean, it wasn't terrible. I had friends. My haircuts that I received at a young age did not help in my popularity throughout school.
You want me to pull up a picture or no?
I don't care.
All right, I'll do it while you're talking.
But yeah, I mean, I wasn't like overly bullied or anything of that nature. But yeah, I just didn't. I lacked a lot of self-confidence because of that. And then once I started letting my hair grow, and then made the house smell like burnt hair from trying to straighten it. That's when I started to, and then finally I got over the straightening part. It just went my natural curls, and I've been like that ever since. I don't ever straighten my hair because I look crazy like that. Eric says I look like a wrestler with my hair straight.
I definitely remember the smell. I'm trying to find, man, I can't find any.
Yeah, because Mom got me that hot comb that I would burn myself with all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was thinking about that last night after you had agreed about to do this. I was thinking about that, and it's weird how the dynamic with all of us. When I like us, we've got more siblings than just us that grew up together in the same house. But when I say us, that's kind of what I'll use is me, you, Candy, and Mandy. I don't know how you guys perceive it, but I feel like the dynamic that we had growing up, as far as like, and even in like early adulthood, it just continues to kind of like change, and I feel like oftentimes, even though I'm the youngest of us four, like I'm hyper protective of you guys. So when I think about just that, like you potentially having like tough times in like school growing up, I was thinking about that last night, and I was like, man, like I couldn't have done anything. We weren't even in the same school, but I was just kind of disappointed in myself. That one, like, I don't know, like, I don't know what it's like. I mean, I'm sure I've been picked on at different points in my life, but it was never like where I felt bad about myself. You know what I mean? I wish that I would have known to where like, maybe I wouldn't have been such a butthole to you at different points, you know what I mean? Growing up,
Well, I think it might have been different this day and age, but back then, like, if I got picked on at school during the day or something, that's something that I could leave at school.
Yeah.
Like, you'd go home and you'd go throughout the rest of your day. I mean, you still might think about, oh, what's so-and-so going to say to me tomorrow? But at least I wasn't living in this day and age where, I mean, it's the social media, because that's, I don't know. That's where I think kids have it hard these days because they can't escape it at all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, when I was thinking about it last night, it genuinely made me sad. Even if it wasn't like something that bothers you to this day. I didn't notice it. I don't know if Candy and Mandy noticed it. I mean, you guys were in school together at certain points, like in the same school. So I wonder if they noticed it. Were they like a safe space for you in those settings, or did they treat you like, just a little sister, like, get away from me, I'm with my friends type thing. So for me now, like being a dad to two girls, man, I try to be really careful about things that I say to them, trying to be aware of even just things that they say about themselves or like to each other, or just like their mannerisms. Yeah, just because like I said, you weren't like the victim of like some terrible bullying, like you see about, like you hear about like some of these Netflix documentaries and stuff like that. But it's still like important for somebody, you know what I mean, to have somebody that they can feel comfortable around. You kids are going to be assholes regardless,
right?
A lot of times, but yeah, I was disappointed the more I thought about it yesterday. Do you remember anybody specifically that was like, oh God, they're coming around, like it's about to be like a shitty hour in class? Was there anybody specifically that you remember gave you a hard time?
I don't think so.
No.
No.
Yeah, like when I talked about this on the podcast with Mandy, I feel like out of all four of us, you're the easiest one to like. Just because you're easy to be around, you're fun, you're social. Yeah, like you're. Yeah, so just it's just surprising to me, and that's what I remember of you as a kid too. Even though you were older than me, I never felt like you didn't want to be around me. Playing dumb games in our room. We shared a bedroom together for a while. So like that stuff, playing outside and everything like that. Yeah, so I just think that's really, really cool. I see that riff sometimes, even with Hope and Kennedy. They play together a lot. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But there are points where I can tell that like just a couple years of age difference, like where Hope is just, there's going to come a point where Kennedy is still going to be a little girl and Hope is not going to be that anymore. And I wonder how that's kind of all going to kind of take shape. I hope that they have kind of the same relationship that you and I did as kids, to where it doesn't feel like Hope doesn't want to be around Kennedy, so
yeah.
So let's talk about childhood stuff with Stan. I don't know if everybody that will listen to this will have listened to the episode with Mandy, but can you kind of give an overview of what you remember that dynamic being with Stanley and you guys?
I don't remember anything of Stanley.
Really?
As a kid, no.
How old were you when he kind of went elsewhere? Do you know?
I have no idea, because when you were born, I wasn't even in school yet. So it was before I even went to kindergarten, because I remember feeding you animal cookies in your crib and getting in trouble for it. But yeah, so I don't remember Stanley at all. Like, the first time I remember ever meeting him was when he showed up to my work at Hardee's, and I had no idea who he was. And I guess the whole day before, he was in there watching me. I'm like, that's creepy.
I don't think I even knew that. Like, tell me about that.
Yeah, so I was working drive-through, and some guy had come through, and then he's like, he got up to the window and he said, "I'm your dad." And I'm like, what? And then he gave me this locket with a picture, I think, of him and me in it. And it might have been something else. I don't remember. But then he had told me he was sitting inside Hardee's the day before watching me. And I was like, well, this is weird. And I mean, I didn't have too much of a conversation with him because I didn't know the man.
All right, hold on. So Stanley is your biological father. Mom and him got divorced. I don't know when. Sometime between 81 and 84, so somewhere in there. So like when you saw it, so like when you saw him, there was nothing in your mind that felt like this person is familiar at all. It was no. It was just, to you, it was just a complete stranger. And then he just says, like, "I'm your dad." Did you think he was like high, or did it not even like register in your mind what he was saying?
Well, I knew after he said it, that he was telling the truth. I'm like, who else would come through and say that? And then he gave me the locket.
Yeah.
But I mean, even after that, I think I might have talked to him once or twice, maybe on the phone, but never in person. And then I had him on my social media, and he used to, I don't know if he was intoxicated or what, but he used to always post weird stuff on my social media page, like, I'm your dad, Missy, and just random stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until we got that call that he had that brain tumor or whatever, and we all flew down there. That was what, 2017, because Elijah was newborn.
Mm-hmm.
And we all flew down there and visited him. And then
so comes to the drive-thru, gives you this locket. I'm your dad. I watched you yesterday. What did you do? With, like, he hands you this locket. Like, in my mind, I'm thinking, like, somebody hands me this locket. I'm looking at it. I would probably like go to the back of the break room and like pull a coworker in and be like, what?
I did. I was talking to everybody. I was like, this man just came through the drive-thru and said he was my dad.
Like, what did they say?
And then he said he was watching me. They were all just like, that's crazy.
That is crazy for, like, in a multitude of ways. But thinking about it, so thinking about it through the lens of a father, if I hadn't seen my daughters in God knows how long, whether it was my own doing or not, if I either like finally mustered up the courage to go see them or whatever that was, I don't know of a way you do that that's not weird. You know?
Yeah.
That's not overwhelming. I wonder what was going through his mind. But like, so he hands you this locket. Like, did you call mom? Did you tell mom and dad? Because that still,
I'm pretty sure I told mom.
Yeah, because dad, even though he at that point, dad would have been in his let's say this was 2000. So he was probably just shy of 50. He was still not somebody to be messed with.
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, I wonder, like, did he think about that at all? That's crazy.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm sure I told mom, but I don't know. And I mean, it could have been, I don't remember exactly when it was, but it could have been after mom and dad had separated.
Split. That would make sense, because maybe then he felt like, maybe he heard about it and like maybe felt like now there was like this barrier, that like legitimate barrier,
like
that was
the safety net.
Yeah. Like now this is just, if there's a chance, like now's the chance. Do you still have the locket?
I'm sure that I do somewhere. I think it's probably in a memory box upstairs.
Yeah. So then what happened? Did you just never heard, you didn't hear from him again for several years, or you didn't talk to him again for several years?
I don't think I talked to him again until after Mandy and Candy connected with him once they had joined the military.
So they were still home. If Candy and Mandy were still home, then we were still at mom and dad's. We were all together.
I don't know.
I wonder if you were the first one that he reached out to. But that wouldn't make sense, because Candy and Mandy would have been at Hardee's. Did you work at Hardee's the same time that they did?
I did.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll clear this up on the back end if they remember it at all. Yeah, man, that's wild. So outside of like that interaction, you don't really remember him. I remember points because I was older, still doing visitation with David and stuff. So there's parts of that I remember with him, and Chris and Wayne and stuff like that. But and for the most part, the memories that I have are generally pretty positive. When I was with them, the circumstances surrounding it probably not so much. Did you ever think about him at all when you were a kid, like growing up?
Not
Like,
really.
really?
Mm-mm.
Do you think that him not being there at all impacted you at all?
No,
No.
no. I mean, because we had a dad in our life
Sure.
from that young age that we grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I didn't know him, so you can't miss somebody you don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's some truth to that. Like I didn't know David. Really, there was a lot of times where I had visitations where he had visitations that he wasn't there. So I did the visitations and stuff with Chris or with Wayne. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's interesting to me how our experience with that is totally different, because there were points in time, man, we were sharing the same room together, and you remember how like my bed was built in, and I had there was a shelf around my bed. There was a picture, I think it was probably an old school picture of me where I was wearing like jeans with like a suit coat. And I remember I was grounded up there with you for some reason, who knows what, probably missed assignment in school or something. And I took the back of the picture frame apart, like you can pull like the backing out and change the picture.
Mhm.
And I found a picture behind it. And it was a picture of David in a uniform.
Oh wow.
So like, dude, there were so many times growing up that I would sit in that I would be laying in my bed, thinking about him. And I would look at that picture, like examining every inch of his face, like seeing similarities and just like stuff like that. So like for me, it wasn't like a constant thing that I thought about, but I would say it was pretty routine that I was thinking about him, wondering if he was thinking about me, you know? So yeah, for me, that was definitely, I can look back on that now and realize that was definitely impactful for me, in a multitude of ways. But it sounds like the difference is that even though I didn't have him in my childhood for very long, I still had him at points in my childhood that I would remember. But you don't have that other than being in high school and him just randomly showing up to your place of work.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So let's talk about your journey into the Air Force. Was that something that you wanted to do, or did you feel like you had to?
I didn't feel like I had to. It was definitely, dinner table every night. We were all joining the military.
Mm-hmm.
And then once Mandy and Candy did it, I pretty much followed in their footsteps, like the whole working at Hardee's. And then I worked at Hardee's. They joined the military. I was like, well, I obviously wasn't going to go to college because I hated school. So, but I did try to stick around Quincy, and my recruiter told me no, because I think it was right after graduation, and a couple of my friends had gotten an apartment, and I was like, well, maybe I don't want to join the military yet. Maybe I want to, spend the summer here and get an apartment and hang out with my friends. And he's like, no. He's like, if you don't leave when you're supposed to, you're not going to leave.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, you're not changing your contract. So I was like, okay. And looking back, that probably was the best decision, because had I stuck around that summer, who knows where I would be at this point in life.
Yeah. Have you thought about that at all? Like what would have happened? like how your life would be different had you not joined?
It would probably be terrible,
Yeah.
to be honest. I mean, I'd probably be working a minimum wage job, and just because I would never have went to school. So I would have only probably gotten, restaurant, fast food, retail jobs. So, yeah, the military was definitely the best move for me, and I do not regret it.
Yeah, I've thought about that too. Like same thing. Once I graduated, there wasn't much time before I joined and actually left, but it was enough of a time where I was starting to like make some not sound choices in some of the things that I was doing. And man, I feel like I got out of Quincy at just the right time. I probably should have left earlier, but if I could have, but yeah, it's kind of weird where I don't know who listens to these things, but like Quincy, it's not that Quincy is a bad town to live in, but there aren't a lot of opportunities. There aren't a lot of opportunities for you to like grow into something successful very easily, So like, man, if I would have stuck around, like I strongly thought about like the college thing, like doing the track thing and stuff like that. But even if I would have done anything like that, if I could have gotten in, because again, my grades, I just wasn't really careful about my grades in high school. Dude, I don't know where I would be. I know it wouldn't be good. I know that what the lives that you and I have built because of a decision that we were probably strongly pushed towards as like 17 and 18-year-olds. I could have never thought that you would end up where you are, or that I would end up where I am now, and it's disappointing for me when I see some parents that maybe it's the gentle parenting approach or whatever you call it. They just kind of let their kids do their thing. You know what I mean? And there is some goodness to that, I think. But there is parent is more than just a title. Like there is a lot of work that goes into it. And just because your kid is now self-sufficient and can feed themselves and has a job and stuff like that, even if they're graduated from high school, like that job as a parent I don't think really ends,
Right.
So like, sometimes being honest with your kid. I remember when I was at Aristotle School, there was this kid who was continuing to go to Ranger School and just wouldn't fail. Just kept failing. Couldn't make it. And I remember telling this young private, I was like, man, I'm going to tell you something that your parents probably should have told you a long time ago. Your ceiling may not be as high as you think, and you need to find something that you're good at. Otherwise, you're just going to continue to spin your wheels and not get anywhere. And I don't know this kid's name. I don't know if he listened to me at all or did anything. But yeah, there's just a lot of kids who you can see them going down like a dead end path, or like a path that has like no, there's very little upside. And it's like, man, somebody just needs to kind of smack them upside the head and be like, hey man, like get your stuff together. I've talked to some of our nephews, or one of our nephews on Casey's side of the family, kind of about that actually. Like, about a year or so ago, I was like, man, you don't understand. He was 15 or 16 at the time, that the decisions that you're making now as a 15 or 16-year-old, if you make the wrong choices, will legitimately ruin your life. So you've got to be careful. To you as a 15 or 16-year-old, it may seem insignificant, but you don't know like the ripple effects of those decisions. Before we move on to like more into the Air Force stuff, I need you to settle one thing once and for all that has always been on my mind. What happened when you crashed the Chrysler LeBaron? I have theories, but I want to know really what's the real story? How did you wreck Mom's car?
So this was the first time that Mom let me take her car and I was supposed to stay the night at a friend's house, right? And so I think I had asked her if she wanted something to eat or something, and then I was going to go get it for her, take it. This was when she was still at grandma's house, and take it back. And then I was going to go to my friend's house. Well, I decided to swing by the apartments first and see who was there. Well, in doing so, I was in the parking lot and I'm looking up at the window of the apartment and just ran into a pole.
Okay. So that story kind of checks out. I thought I was told that it was like the mall parking lot, that it was like
No.
empty and you hit like one of those light poles, but okay. So there wasn't anything nefarious going on. But
that
you
was
were
the second time I've hit a pole.
but you were distracted. That kind of
I
makes
was
sense.
distracted.
Yes. So let's talk about the Air Force. How was it leaving home for you? And basic training, what was that like?
Leaving home was definitely sad. I mean, I had never been away from really my family at all. I mean, because we didn't go on trips and go somewhere and or anything like that. So yeah, that was definitely hard, the actual departure part. But boot camp to me was so easy. Like, I got in trouble for smiling and laughing a lot, which, I mean, that's me. I can't help it. Once something makes me laugh, I can't stop. Mm-hmm. So those were the things that I got in trouble for most. I made sure, like when it came to, what was it? We had Warrior Week. So then one of the days was the confidence course. I made sure that I was the first female to complete every obstacle on that course. Really? Yes. I wanted to show everybody up, and I succeeded in that. Somebody almost got me because I think one of the guys had went across and threw the rope back, and he didn't throw it good, and it started just like swinging. And so I had to jump for it, and like my foot drug in the water. But yeah, the worst part for me at basic was trying to get sleep and listening to people sob at nighttime.
Why were they sobbing?
I couldn't. I guess homesick. I don't know. But yeah, that I couldn't take it. Like, I would get so mad. I had to do push-ups during Warrior Week. I got in trouble because I went off on our dorm chief because she had cut her pubes and tried to get somebody else to clean them up. And so I went off on her, and I think I said a few choice words. And then next thing you know, somebody had went and got the TI, and they came in, and we had to do some push-ups and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was a good experience. I enjoyed basic training. I don't think it was as terrible as people make it. I guess it just depends on your mindset. I was used to getting yelled at, so that didn't faze me.
Yeah.
As soon as I got off the bus, I think I was 104 pounds at 5'6". So I got off the bus, and the first thing they said to me was, "You need to eat a cheeseburger."
Did they put you on a diet to gain weight?
They didn't.
No.
I remember her crying one night because I think it had been a week and I hadn't pooped. And I remember going up to one of the TIs, telling them my stomach hurt and that I couldn't poop.
I'm sure that went over well.
I don't remember what they said to me, but they didn't send me to go get no laxatives or nothing. I think they just told me to drink more water.
Yeah, I remember when you left home. I remember when Tandy and Mandy left too. and that was still a big deal. I remember mom crying. That's the first time the kids had left and stuff like that. And I remember them leaving, and it was obviously like kind of shocking, but it kind of that ended up kind of fading quickly. But I remember when you left, I was just like, what the hell? Like looking around, like where the hell is everyone? You know what I mean? So for me, that was kind of a bigger deal. So you went to basic training. Your tech school at Keesler?
It was.
Okay. And then your first assignment was at Whiteman.
Old Knob Nasty.
Yeah. So not Whiteman was the first time that you're actually like a fully functional solo adult without like somebody breathing down your neck. Like how was that? Like what was dorm life like?
Well, I remember looking out the windows and just thinking about like I'm actually like in the real world like an adult.
I can do whatever I want.
I remember daydreaming about it like I'm an adult. I'm on my own doing my own thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, dorm life for me, man, I partied a lot. Too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I came close to getting myself out the military as an airman.
Really?
Yes.
How so?
Well, Dustin, my late husband. So I hung out with him and his friends. And I think their first sergeant called them the Fab Five. And he was determined to kick every single one of them out of the military. And he succeeded. And, you know, I was right there along with that crew. We did a lot of underage drinking, got caught. My name was given for being at a party. And I remember going to work and they're like, oh, you know, you got told on, blah, blah, blah. And I had to go see the commander. And my supervisor at the time, he was trying to look out for me and help me out. He's like, Missy, he's like, when you go in there, he's like, were you drinking out of beer can? And I said, no. He's like, were you drinking out of like a solo cup? And I said, yeah. He's like, nobody knows what you were drinking in that cup. He's like, they can't prove it. And then I went in the commander's office. He asked me if I was drinking. I said, yes. I just broke down. I'm like, I was. So I think I had gotten a UIF for that. And then not too long after that, an unfavorable information file.
What is that? What did that do?
The UIF kept me from, I think, promoting. It really didn't keep, a UIF itself doesn't keep you from a whole lot. Mm-hmm. But the added stuff on top of it, like had I gotten Article 15 with that UIF, that would have been a different story. Mm-hmm. But I got a letter of reprimand and a UIF. But then not too long after that, I was somebody's sponsor. Like, so a sponsor is essentially when a new airman comes to a base, they're assigned a sponsor that goes and picks them up from the airport and then shows them around the base and all that good stuff. Well, I kept trying to get a hold of this airman and they weren't contacting me. They weren't returning my phone calls or anything. And then I didn't stay in my dorm room one night. Well, that next day I came back to my room and somebody had slid a note under my door saying that my airman was coming in. I think it was the night prior and like their flight information. Well, I never got it because I didn't stay in my room. Mm-hmm. So I ended up getting put on a control roster after that. So
and that ain't good.
Yeah.
I've been on one of those myself.
Yep. Yep. But I got taken off all that early because I had failed my first set of our CDCs, which is when you get to your job, you have more training on your career field, and it's called CDCs, and you take a test. Well, I failed that first test, and then my commander told me if I took the test again and passed it, he would take me off my UIF and control roster. So I did.
Yeah.
And then not too long after that, I think I was still on that stuff when I found out I was pregnant with Lexi.
Mm-hmm.
And then that calmed me down a little bit.
Yeah. I'm sure. I remember talking to you on the phone the night, I'm pretty sure it was the night that Operation Shock and Awe kicked off. Because Whiteman was a B2 base, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I vaguely remember us talking to you earlier in the day, and it had nothing to do with anything that was operational, but it was just really ironic how we had talked to you just a few hours prior, and then like on the news watching just B2s amongst other aircraft just totally just destroying Iraq for hours and days. It's pretty wild. Whiteman's a weird base because it's just what do you expect? What do you expect young airmen to do? My first assignment was Panama City. So if you wanted to go party, you could go off base, and there was an off base. Sure, there was definitely opportunities for you to get busted for stuff, but there was also ways for you to you go to a hotel and party and stuff like that. Where at Whiteman, there's just not there. Maybe there's more stuff there now, but at the time there wasn't anything there, So really that's all people had to do was to drink and go to the base club and stuff like that. I remember that going to your base club, the one time you took me there when I come to visit was my first time ever going to a club. And I've never been to a club ever since in my entire career that was as busy as that club.
Yeah.
That night, it was pretty cool. I remember going to your house, underage drinking at your house,
trying to puke in a beer can,
throwing up at your house. I remember driving drunk in your car on base as a high schooler.
Oh God, I don't remember that.
I'm pretty sure it was Dustin that told me to go somewhere to get something at the class 6, and so I'm like, sure. You know what I mean?
God.
Yeah. So my career could have ended way well before it got started. Yeah. So you had Lexi. You talked about how that kind of calmed you down. How was that when you first found out you were pregnant? Do you remember how you felt? Do you remember who you talked to?
When I first found out, I don't think I had really. I mean, the first person I probably would have told was Mom.
Yeah.
And then I remember wrapping up a book of baby names and giving it to Dustin. And his reaction was not what I was hoping for. He didn't even open it.
Yeah.
He just said no. And then wanted to start talking about the options. I said, there are no options.
Yeah.
But it's crazy to think of how people think of that stuff before a child is born. But then after the girls were born, they were his world.
Sure.
Could you have ever imagined him not have wanting to have? I mean, I guess we were real young, but
yeah, I never got the vibe off of him that he did not enjoy being a dad.
No,
I can't speak to. I can't. I don't know how good he was at it because I just wasn't around it that often or for really extended periods of time. But there was thinking back on it, there's nothing in my mind that like sticks out as like a red flag or anything like that. But yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, he was, not to excuse anything, but yeah, he was young. He probably didn't, remembering him. I'm sure he was more about wanting to have fun and realize that this was going to impact his ability to be able to do those things. Yeah.
I mean, that was a short-lived conversation. He made suggestions. I said no. That's all she wrote.
Yeah.
Then we moved on.
Yeah. So you guys ended up getting married shortly thereafter, right? It wasn't too long.
Lexi was a year old when we got married.
Yeah. Then you got lucky enough to PCS to Patrick, which for me was like a godsend. And I kind of talked about it briefly. I didn't talk about it as much as I had initially planned on talking about during my retirement speech, mainly because it was I was trying to keep my emotions in check. But like for me at the time, you being there and Mandy being in Orlando was just like such a godsend for me, because I was at my first duty assignment, and I had friends there. I had friends at Tyndall, but I was definitely homesick, so being able to just like drive to y'all's house on a weekend whenever I wanted and show up unannounced was just really really cool for me to be able to have that available, Yeah. So at Patrick, that's when everything happened with Dustin. Do you feel comfortable getting into any of that or no?
I mean, we can.
So I'll tell you what I remember, and then I'll kind of kick it to you because I'm curious. I've never asked you some of these questions before, so I'm just curious what it was like for you. I remember getting a phone call at like 2 or 3 a.m. I was a recruiter at the time in Champaign, Urbana, and I knew when the phone rang and it's that late. I was like, oh no! Like you automatically you just assume like something bad has happened, and I'm pretty sure it was Mom. It may have been Candy, but I'm pretty sure it was Mom that called me. And I was expecting it because it was before Grandma passed away, right? I think it was before.
No.
No?
I think Grandma passed away first.
Yeah, I don't know. But regardless, when I heard what had happened, in a million years, I would have never thought that I was getting a call about him.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember sitting on the couch, just like sobbing, man. So like we weren't like super close, but like where we talked often. But I remember even as a recruiter, like driving back from places, like it wasn't abnormal for him to call me, and we would talk for like 30 or 45 minutes. Him talking about I remember. At the time, we were trying to figure out ways to get him back in the Air Force. That was something that he was pursuing or was interested in doing,
right?
Amongst many of his other things that he kind of
a football kicker
and stuff like that. But yeah, man, like that for me, that phone call was just crazy. So for you that night, like what do you remember that whole night unfolding? What happened there?
So the next day, I was supposed to go out for a field training. And I didn't have all the stuff that I needed for my my bag. And so I needed to go to like Walmart or whatever. So I was going to get up early in the morning to go to Walmart and leave the girls with Alicia at the apartment or whatever. And I remember like in the middle of the night, my phone rang. And I didn't answer it. And then when I had woke up, Alicia was up and I was like, somebody called me from a weird number in the middle of the night. And she's like, who was it? I was like, I don't know. She's like, call it back. So I called it back and they said Holmes Regional Trauma Center. And I hung up the phone. Because I was like, what? I was like, it sounded like a business. I was like, I think she's like, call it back again. So I called back again. And that's when they told me on the phone that, they had Dustin there and that he had passed and that the notification team wasn't en route to my house.
They were en route to your house.
Yeah. So the notification team I lucked out for the unit that I was in because my unit does casualty assistance and notifications. So like they put the whole team and everybody together. So they ended up at my doorstep not too long after that. And they had, basically walked me through everything. They took me to the police station. They took me everywhere that I needed to go. Bob Doyne, he was the one, our casualty rep, and he was the one that just helped me and talked me through everything because, I'm 27. I don't know how to plan a funeral.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't even imagine. I don't think anybody can really ever imagine like what that would be like. And I know that it was just because there was a lot of, correct me if I'm wrong, there was still a lot of uncertainty around kind of what fully transpired, right? Because I remember I thought the first thing that I had heard was that it was his brother.
Right. So when I went to the police station, they sat me in a room and they told me he was in a fight with his brother and his brother killed him. And I'm like, and I told them, I straight up told them, I said, look, somebody's got to call his mom. I was like, because I can't call that woman and tell her one child is dead and the other one's going to prison for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And then they ended up doing more investigating and I guess got all the bar receipts and started, going to houses of people. And I guess they showed up at one house and knocked on the door. And the guy's like, it's about the fight my friend was in last night, isn't it? And that's how they ended up finding out who it actually was that did it.
Yeah. I remember hearing that wasn't there a period of time where his brother thought that he did it? Like he was so intoxicated that.
Yeah, they made him think that he did it. Like, how terrible is that? For them to sit there and tell you that you killed your sibling.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that whole thing. I can't even imagine. It makes me nauseous just thinking about it. The fact that you had to go through that at all, I think about him still, you know what I mean? There was definitely things about him that were not good qualities. I know kind of like you guys' relationship was, kind of ebbed and flowed, you know what I mean? But I always enjoyed being around him. You know what I mean? He was always fun to be with,
He was.
And even though I knew that, from what I remember, you guys may not have been good together at that time. That's still like not, it's just such a freaking tragic thing, man. Yeah. And so like for me, that moment, I kind of spiraled there for a while. Like you may not know this, but like shortly after like the funeral and stuff, man, I was just binge drinking all the time. I would go downtown on weekdays, getting absolutely hammered, and I was finding people just to find a reason to fight with people, and I was getting in fights all the time, and yeah, I think it was like it was a lot of it was just surrounding that, man, and I was not dealing with it well. Yeah, I was just mad about the whole situation. Yeah. Um, so
But
your
I was lucky to
experience,
have Mandy come over because I didn't know how I was going to tell the girls.
yeah.
I
How
don't
did
even
that go?
remember I don't remember exactly what I said to them. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I rem yeah, I don't know. There's just
But
no real
Mandy
good
was
way to.
there.
Yeah. And yeah, that's got to be. Has there been there can't be anything. I would assume anything in your life that's been more difficult than that conversation.
No.
Yeah, yeah. Because Lexi was she
Lexi would have
wasn't.
been like 7,
Yeah,
and Haley was like 3.
yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah,
remember Lexi. Lexi would just follow me around and like because I would try not to cry in front of them.
yeah.
And then I think she knew that I was upset and I think she was trying to comfort me.
Mhm.
And so she would just follow me around the house everywhere.
Yeah.
Like if I'd go sit on the patio, she'd come out and sit next to me.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's lucky. I mean, as difficult as that conversation is, because uh, I'd be curious to know. Obviously, when everything happened, it was just an overwhelming thing. Everything about it is just the planning the funeral, notifying all the family that needs to be notified, having to travel to Iowa for all that stuff. You have everybody that's around you that's like really kind of circling the wagons around you and the girls. The funeral was heavy, even for me. I remember sitting there, and this was the first time that I'd been through several funerals, but I remember looking at him, um, and I swear it must have been my mind playing tricks on me, but I swear that I was seeing his chest rising and falling like he was breathing. And so I had to leave. I had to, I for like I couldn't. I went in there and I left, and like it was just like, yeah, that was a really tough one for me. But yeah, there's just all of that was just a lot of activity in a short amount of time. But then like life goes back to like not normal, but like you go home, you know what I mean, and you've got to figure out how to like pick the pieces up and like get on with it. You know what I mean? Um, I know Amber was there for you, and uh, who else was there for you to kind of help?
Alicia, I was roommate. Alicia was my roommate at that time.
Yeah,
So that was definitely, I mean, she was so helpful. I remember she took the girls and had a whole photo shoot done of them for Mother's Day.
hmm, yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I've definitely lucked out with having so many good people in my life when it
hmm,
comes to the girls,
yeah,
just being support.
hmm, yeah. I mean, a lot of people in a similar situation would have just like totally freaking spiraled. You know, kids would just like totally spiral dealing with it. The fact that nobody will ever truly know other than people that have been through a situation similar to you will ever really know like what that, like the heaviness of that. But the fact that you were able to like just continue and like never move on, but continue to move regardless. That says a lot about you, because I don't know if I could, you know. Yeah, it's just the whole situation is crazy. It seems for me, it seems like a life. It seems so long ago. You know what I mean? It was a long time ago. But it's, yeah, pretty wild. So you ended up PCSing to MacDill, doing some time there, and then inevitably you met the hubby you have now. How did you guys meet?
So we both worked at SOCOM together, which was a joint unit. So the floor that I worked on was human resources for every branch. Initially, when he first I didn't talk to him at all. And then some friends and people were going out, and I was like, well, I want to go out. And I was like, but I ain't got a ride. They're like, ask Farmer to drive you. I was like, I don't even talk to that guy. And then, yep, I was like, hey, I was like, can you pick me up and take me to this place? And then that's all she wrote.
Yeah. So you guys got together. You basically were on the verge, like you were almost at the cusp of, you were on the back end of having like children, kind of not on the back end, but you had like crested the halfway mark of two kids in the house, and then you got pregnant again with Elijah. How was that received from both of you? I know I remember you were wanting to have another one for.
I did. I mean, we had already talked about it.
Yeah.
It was an intentional thing.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, we were fairly new into our relationship. Mm-hmm. So I thought there was going to be a lot of judgment from family.
Because he's black.
I don't know if, what's that?
Because he's black? Or because you guys were? No? Okay.
Because I got pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember if you recall how I informed everyone of my pregnancy.
No.
I sent a group text message out to everyone telling people I was pregnant, and if they had any negative things to say about it, they could keep it to themselves, basically. Mom was so upset.
Yeah. Was there, I don't remember that. To be honest, I don't remember having, so like you and Rob were together for so long, after everything that happened with Dustin and stuff. And, Rob and I honestly, I feel like had a similar closeness to like me and Dustin, where it was very much kind of like a friendship, like a big brother, little brother type thing. So when everything happened with you, when you and Rob split up, and then Eric came into the picture, I remember just like being intentionally just like, man, like I'm not gonna like any more of the dude she's with. And so like I was intentionally, I would not talk to him. I was like, it wasn't that I didn't like Eric. I didn't want him to think that I did like him either. You know what I mean? So like I would ignore him, and stuff like that. And I do regret that to a certain degree. But there was, so you were concerned that people had opinions about you being pregnant, but you didn't have you didn't have any concerns about being in an interracial relationship?
The only one that I thought would have been Dad. And Dad, look, I told Dad flat out when I invited him to my senior NCO induction ceremony. This was pre-Elijah. So Eric and I had just started dating, moved in together. I told Dad, I was like, look, I was like, if you come here, I was like, you're not going to be rude to Eric. And I was like, and that means you're not going to not speak to him either. Because if you recall, he did that to Dustin.
Yeah.
Dad did not speak to Dustin until our wedding day.
Yeah.
Because he was mad that he got me pregnant.
Yeah.
So I told Dad, I was like, look, I said, you're not going to be rude. You're not going to be hateful. You're going to speak to the man. And he's like, you can't tell me what to do. And I was like, well, I did. And he came and they hit it off. He looked at Eric, flipped him off, said, fuck you. And that's where their bond began.
Yeah, I think I even noticed that how much Dad liked Eric so quickly, which was not normal. Even like heavily medicated Dad didn't generally like people a lot. And to be honest, I feel like out of all of the spouses of siblings and stuff like that, he liked Eric more than all of them. You know what I mean? For some weird reason, and I don't even know what it is. Maybe that's just Eric. I do think he is just naturally somebody that is easy to like, similar to you. Is just easy to like because he doesn't. I'm sure. I know you guys have bad days, but he doesn't seem to like ever really have a bad day. He's always upbeat. You know what I mean? And so even for me, like it was difficult because I was trying to similar vein that how you described with Dad's interaction with Dustin because you guys weren't married yet. That was kind of my take on Eric too. Was like, man, you aren't in the family until you're in the family, you know. And so, yeah, that it was hard because there was times where I would like really want to interact with him, but I'd have to check myself and like, you can't like this guy because he's not here. He's not a part of this until he's actually a part of this thing, you know. But even with all the stuff that we talked about previously, yeah, I mean, you guys are perfect together. You know what I mean? Like it's great. I couldn't imagine him not being. I can't imagine what it was like, what it would be like without him in the picture. You know what I mean? So, so that's cool. And obviously Elijah is great. He seems to be a lot like you were in many respects, as far as kind of being super hyper and super hyper.
Elijah.
Yeah.
And then crying at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
He's calmed down with the crying.
Yeah.
He's growing out of it.
Yeah. How different is it parenting a boy versus girls?
Oh, it's night and day.
Really? How so?
Yes. Like, I mean, it could just be Elijah's severe ADHD, but that boy is nonstop. Like Mandy and Candy would crack up because the boy would wake up in the mornings and just start running laps around the house. And he's like that all day.
Mm-hmm.
Like he doesn't need to take a break. Like he'll run all day. And he lives in onesie costumes.
Yeah.
He loves his costumes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, video games where Lexi and Haley were arts and crafts and makeup and cheerleading.
Mm-hmm.
Elijah's costumes and football.
What has it been like now that Haley and Lexi are older? How you guys' relationship has changed from the way you interact with Elijah is a much different dynamic than it is with them now because they're older. Is that weird for you that it's less of a like like top down parent to child thing, and now it's more like kind of like a friendship. Is that have you noticed that at
I
all?
mean, yeah. Oh yeah. Lexi has referred to me as her best friend many a time. She's like, who else has their mom as their best friend? Other people have people to go out with. I got my mom.
Yeah, yeah.
But Lexi was the one that I thought I was worried that we would have a strained relationship as leading into adulthood, just because she was so stubborn and hard-headed, and her and I used to battle nonstop about the most ridiculous stuff.
Mhm.
But I mean, the girl will be blowing up my phone every day
Yeah.
about who knows what. And then Haley, she blows up my phone every day for some nonsense. Like, she's scared of her own shadow, pretty much. She
Mhm.
said she woke up the other morning and she said she had a red line on her forehead and through her eyebrow. And she's like, and I wiped it off and red was coming off. And so I'm like, okay. So then she's like, I don't know if it was my dry shampoo or I used a new face serum. So I'm just laughing, like, why? I don't understand. And she's like, why are you laughing, Mom? I'm scared. I'm like, scared of what? I'm like, something got on your face.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not like it's an issue with your body, Haley.
Mhm.
This same one that thought she was having a heart attack a couple years ago, and we had to take her to the ER.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
It's
but
it's weird because I haven't been I haven't been able to be as involved in. Let me correct that. I could have been more involved in all of their like the nieces and nephews' lives had I been more diligent and like deliberate about doing it, phone calls and messengers and stuff like that. I just something that I haven't that I've just never done and I've never been good at. Not that that's an excuse, but it's so weird for me seeing them as not little kids anymore, because it happens so quick. Maybe like from baby to like 10, 11, 12 doesn't happen quickly, but it seems like the teenage years are so fast, you know?
yeah.
And yeah, it's just really weird. And I noticed it more so when we were there for Emily's wedding. Like, man, like these are like, they're like actually adults and they seem to have like turned out okay. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
they're not, we don't have any drama with any of them, um, they seem to be generally responsible and, yeah, it's cool to see, but it makes you feel old. Even though like I don't feel old like in my body, I don't feel old, but like seeing that, it's like, man, like the we are no longer the young generation anymore. Like there's a new generation of them that are coming in and
Yeah.
coming into their own. Um, of your daughters, which have you talked? How often do you guys talk about, or do you guys talk at all about Dustin?
We don't do it constantly, occasionally, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's not always like if something comes up, I might be like, your dad used to do that, or
Yeah.
he liked that, or
Yeah, I think that's cool. I think it's easy to want to just shut that part of your life off and try to like just forget about it. But I think it's cool that you guys are able to still um, have that come up just kind of nonchalant in conversations, and it doesn't like ruin anybody's night and turn into some like emotional spiral of reminiscing or what ifs or anything like that. I think that's really cool, man.
yeah.
There's a lot that has transpired over the past couple of years. But one of the things that I was wanting to talk with you about is everything that happened with Dad. I know Everybody that wishes that they could have been there, there towards the end, has their own feelings about it. But for me, man, I'm beyond thankful that you were able to be there with me, and that I was able to be there with you too. You probably would have fared off better had you been solo. I don't know how I would have done solo through all that. When we went up there to the Veterans Hospital, did you think we were up there as his life was coming to an end? Or did you?
No.
Me either, man. I thought, no, 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 Kizzy, no, no. I thought we were just there to like kind of help give Tracy a break, because she had just been heavy with everything going on with Dad for months. You know what I mean? And I really showed up there with the idea in my mind that we were just going to come in, kind of back clean up, try to keep him motivated and like straighten him out. Like, hey, dude, like you got to do what you got to do to get through this, you know? That whole, were we only there for like 3 days?
Were you?
It's like 2 or 3 days.
If I think it was like 2, because we were there the first day, and then I think the second day it might have been 3, because remember we thought it was the medication that they had given him.
Yeah,
we're like, because he was fine. It seemed like he was communicating with us as best he could, and like we were talking about current events and all sorts of stuff. And then the next day is when he pushed the nurse down.
Yeah.
And that's when they gave him that medication.
Yeah, because it was because I remember I showed up there the first day because Tracy was still there. You weren't there yet. I was there a little bit. I remember when I walked in the room, he was out of it. It was early in the day, and I remember Tracy like saying, "Hey, you know who that is?" And he like looked up and he was like, "Yeah, that's my son." Then you showed up later that day. But yeah, the next day it was just so weird because, it was weird because he was like in this weird, I don't know what, just a weird state where he was like, he would have these moments of trying to interact with us, but you could tell everything wasn't kind of firing right. But then it was just weird. Like, the last half of the day, it was just like the lights came on. You know what I mean? And like you said, like we were talking. Yeah, it was hard for us to understand him because he had the feeding tube in and his mouth was dry and stuff like that. But like his facial expressions were just like he normally did. You know what I mean? Like just rolling his eyes at like the nurses and stuff like that. And it was like, for me, oh, cool. Like this is that like motivated me. It just kind of gave me some optimism. And then at some point, it was just like a drastic a turn. And like you're right, we thought it was kind of the medication, so we were asking them to come off it. But yeah, I don't even remember the staff even like insinuating that like we're knocking on death's door here. Like obviously he wasn't doing well, but yeah. But
they did bring in that one woman to talk to us about. I guess like DNR.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember that.
So I think they knew it was nearing.
I wonder what, but
Because I mean, if you see that stuff day in, day out,
yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
I've gone down weird rabbit holes with that, and there's some Instagram pages on some of this, and there were definitely some things that we were witnessing that are um, um, like common for like the final moments. You know what I mean? I think you and I thought it was just a lot of like the medication and stuff was like causing him to hallucinate and stuff like that. But there's just some of that stuff that we were seeing, and so for me, those maybe not so much the first day prior to me getting there, but like the second day where we were able to kind of interact with him and joke around and stuff like that. And that last day where it was just basically me and you in the room and him just kind of there doing his thing.
Mm.
Man, those days replay in my mind more, sometimes more than I wish that they would, to be totally honest. And then I remember, like when we were in the hotel room that night or the morning, and the phone rang. I remember like both of our reactions, like shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it would have been. I wish everybody else that wanted to be there could have been there. I'm glad that we were able to be there for that. Maybe for him too, you know what I mean? I'm sure that was maybe good for him. I don't know what that would be like. I don't want to be honest. I don't know how you feel. Maybe I don't want to go down that rabbit hole right now. But how have you processed everything with that? Do you think about it much, or do you think about it often with dad? Is that something that still like feels heavy to you?
I do. Yeah, just seeing in that state and like just holding his hand, trying to keep him from flailing around.
Yeah.
Like, and even before then, when he was at the other hospital, and I remember asking to stay the night because he was so upset because he said, I forget what he told me, like they wouldn't come in and check on him or something during the night. Like if he needed to use the bathroom, what was he going to do? And so that's when I went out and asked one of the nurses if I could stay the night.
Yeah.
So I spent the night, and then that next day he said I needed to build my cot because he wanted me staying the night again.
Yeah. Or correct me if I'm wrong. You were there. You were the one that gave him. It was on Father's Day when he snapped out of whatever happened with. Was it Father's Day or was it Easter? It was like a holiday or something like that. Because remember, he had the surgery and he was like in this weird, like, we thought he was like going to be he was a vegetable basically. I thought it was you who called me on Messenger and pointed the phone at him, and he and I got to interact. And like for me, like, dude, I lost it. I won't forget where I was in the grocery store parking lot, and that happened. And I was like, and when I saw him, and we got to talk just for a second, it was just like, because he was in this weird, like, it wasn't like a coma, was it? But I thought that my chance to ever talk to my dad again was gone, and I had kind of started to accept that for several weeks.
Yeah.
But I remember that phone call was just like, man, you know what I mean? And it's so weird because it's still something I'm obviously dealing with. But yeah, like as a kid, he wasn't somebody that I liked being around, you know? I don't think anybody really liked being around him, you know?
Yeah.
But somehow it came to this. Um, yeah, because there were points. I remember points in like my childhood where I was like thinking like, man, like I don't want to see him again at all. You know, not that he was like that we had like a terrible household. He was like beating us or anything like that. But it just wasn't. He wasn't somebody that was easy to be around at all. And like now, yeah, like I genuinely miss him every day.
Yeah.
Throughout the conversation, like it's how have you never gotten involved in like healthcare? Because with grandma, with dad, all that stuff, there's just so many times where you've like taken care of other people. Why have you never gotten into anything like that? Has that ever been something you've ever thought of?
I've thought about it. I don't know. Yeah, grandma always thought that I was going to be a nurse. I mean, shoot, I was emptying her staph infection bags as a child. Yeah. I don't know. And giving her medicine through her ports. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just,
yeah.
I mean, maybe I can deal with my own family. I don't know if I could deal with other people.
Maybe. Yeah. I know I told you to think about something about you that people don't know and something about me that people may not know. I think what I would say about you that other people don't know is exactly that, is how willing you are to like put your own like personal comfort to the side to make sure that other people are taken care of. I think people that are close to you, I think, know that. People that may not be as super close to you may not know that. And I think that's like, man, that's so rare. Because I don't think that I'm wired that way. I don't know very many people that are, you know what I mean? So for me, that's one of the things that I think that I appreciate the most about you. Have you thought about what your response to that question would be? What's something about you that people don't know?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I'm pretty much an open book. People know most things about me. I guess a lot of people wouldn't have known that, I guess I was more shy or reserved as a child because of my personality today.
But you sang, like you did like a solo and stuff. You know what I mean? Like you weren't afraid to do any of that stuff. It's weird because the stuff that most people would be absolutely terrified of, like you just did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What is something about me that people may not know?
I don't know. Well, what I thought of wasn't heartfelt, so now I feel terrible.
Well, no, it doesn't have to be heartfelt at all. Whatever.
I was just going to say, people might not know that you're part of a special club that only consists of 2 people. And the club is called the 2 Aces, and you are the number 2 ace.
Yeah. We will.
That you enjoy wearing swimming suits.
Yeah. We will agree to disagree on who's number 1, who's number 2. Let's talk about that. So Missy and I spent a lot of time grounded. She was grounded often. So whenever I was grounded, she just happened to be there. So we would find ways to entertain ourselves, whether it was taking hardback books and like rolling up socks and like playing tennis in the bedroom, or stacking up mattresses or like high jumping up for like a broomstick over these mattresses and stuff like that. But yeah, like you convinced me to do weird stuff. You convinced me to smoke cigarettes. You convinced me to drive drunk in high school on a military installation.
I did not. You said Dustin did that.
I don't know. I still blame you. It was technically your house, not his. you convinced me to wear a swimsuit as like a gymnastics outfit for that. I could have really turned out to be messed up, or maybe I am as messed up as I am because of your influence on me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything that we haven't touched on. Let me look at my phone and like the list of things that I sent you.
Of all the games we created as a kid, what was your favorite?
Probably. So our backyard, we didn't have a big backyard, but we had a backyard that was maybe 25 feet wide and probably 50 or 75 feet long. We had this weird game. I don't even remember what it was, but we would put the ball, we would have balls between our knees, running with the balls between our knees. But I don't remember if we were doing like some type of like hockey.
Like obstacles or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, that was probably it. Or us splitting a pair of roller skates and skating around in circles with one skate each on our foot. What about you?
I definitely thought of the skating. That was definitely a fond memory. The many try to make me laugh games every time you would stick your underwear up your butt.
That's funny as Kennedy does that now. She does that to us all the time. She'll put her underwear in her butt to look like Casey's like thong, but then she'll like put her butt. She'll try to put her butt on Hope or me or anybody. That's so funny. Yeah, we definitely found ways to keep ourselves entertained. We tag teamed, annoying the hell out of Candy and Mandy. Yeah,
scaring them at nighttime.
yeah, it was good. It's funny how as a kid I can look back and like, man, everything was just this sucks. We can't do anything. But now looking back on it, it's like, dude, we had so much fun. Yeah, we found ways to have fun with what we had. All right. Well, we are coming up just shy of 2 hours, so I'm not going to keep this thing going. Thank you for doing this with me. I will, similar like what I said to Mandy. I wish we all were able to like get together more. I wish we talked more. But it's nice that even though we all don't talk as often as we probably could or should, that it still just feels easy to like re-engage in conversations with you guys or be around everybody. Yeah, the list of things that about you that I'm thankful for is just super long, but yeah. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to end this thing. Don't get off the stream.
Okay.